Hey guys, what's going on? It's BradPhusion here, and right now I'm currently running on one of the biggest wheels I've seen in a game ever. And yeah, this is going to be a quick discussion video about the latest update, as well as why I haven't done any Space Invaders survival in the past few days anyway. So let me just kind of jump off this massive wheel here. And if you guys find a use for that other than an exercise ball for the Space Invaders, then please show me, because currently these wheels are just way too big for anything. But maybe that's just my thoughts and opinions. Anyways, I'll leave that wheel just spinning, just because, well, it is. Anyways, as to the latest update, which came out yesterday, which fixed quite a lot of things, but it has also broken a few things, which is one of the reasons why I haven't played Survival recently. We'll move on to that in a second. So one of the positive things is that wheels now have textures, as you guys can clearly see here while it's spinning around. It actually looks really cool, and it's actually got indentations on the actual treads instead of it just being a simple texture. You guys can see that it looks very rubber-like, though I'm guessing it definitely isn't rubber, because it doesn't seem to function any differently than what it did previously, other than the fact that there is no sparks anymore. Don't mind the world's shittest looking car in space, but nonetheless, like I said, it doesn't seem to function any differently than what it did before. It's just got a new texture, which I think is rather nice anyways. So we'll jump out of my little teeny ship there, and let me just give it a nice coat of paint to make it look a little bit different. You can actually color the hubs of the tires, as you guys can see here, which is nice. Yet again, nice touch. I've actually made it so you can color quite a few things recently, and I do actually like that change. It makes the game feel a little bit more awesome. Speaking of other texture changes, you may have noticed that the thrusters look different. Another great change as well, and don't mind my really close-up view there. But nonetheless, I'm running the game on high settings, so I don't know whether this affects it at all. But they do have a now more defined shape, and they actually kind of look like a jet engine or a turbine, more or less, which I do like. And the actual block here has a texture as well, which I don't know how I actually feel about this part here. The part itself that actually has this kind of weird texture to it, I don't know, I'm not one for it. I do like this part here, the actual thruster itself, but the block, I actually liked it and got really used to it actually being untextured. So, but maybe that is just me. Let me know what you guys think about the wheels and the thrusters textures now. If you guys like them, let me know. Moving on to the next part of the update. Small ships and large ships now have welders and grinders. Now previously it was only that large ships had grinders, but now they have both. And here is a small ship. Oops, wrong one. Sorry about you. The drills are still kind of nice, but we'll move on to the proper tools here. This is the grinder and this is the welder, if you couldn't already tell. Now, something you might be surprised about is that these are the exact same size, or almost the exact same size, as the large ship variant, which I can place down here for you guys to actually have a look at. So there we have the grinder, and then here is the welder. Now, as you guys can see, they are very similar. Maybe not the grinding wheel itself, but the block itself is actually a lot larger than what it should be. And the reason for this is that they've now added two variants to the conveyors. They've added the larger blocks and the smaller blocks. Now, this has gotten a lot of people having a lot of mixed feelings, and I can understand that, as well as understand why they've also gone with these large conveyors. As you guys can see here, here's a large corner, and compared to the smaller variant, which is this teeny. So the smaller conveyors use up a 1x1, as where the larger variants use up a 3x3, or sorry, a 3x3x3, and the 1x1x1 for the smaller ones. And that kind of makes sense, because the collector blocks are 3x3s by default. I think they've always been like that. At least I can't remember them being any smaller. But now we have the grinders, which are, I believe, a 6x6x3, as where the welders are also a 6x6x3 as well. I'm pretty sure the drills are that as well. But it just adds some sort of compatibility, and I will show you guys just something I just did over here with all the different sizes and shapes and stuff. As you guys can see, I've used the large conveyor here as well as the smaller ones going along, just to show you guys some difference. And there was one part that actually confused a lot of people, and this is the conveyor frame. A lot of people didn't really know what to do with this, but I believe it is, if you have something like this built along here and it's just one bit too big for the larger components, you can actually just stick in a block like this, and you guys can see that it is now lit up and working. The yellow light means that it's functional, and if I was to remove it there, you guys can see it goes red because it's no longer connected. But that is the purpose of the frame in itself, the conveyor frame, sorry. going in like that. And this is actually small ship, by the way. It's not actually large ship components, because I can't use the small stuff on the large ships. You can only use the large stuff on the small ships, if that makes sense. So let's go back over here to the welder and the grinder, and let's see how fast these are. I haven't changed the speeds from default for the sake of testing this out. So let's go over here to the red ship, and let's actually grind and weld away at this thing here, just to show you guys the speeds that are, or how fast they actually are. So we'll go to the angle grinder first, which will be on the right side here. So it's coming up really close here, and we'll start grinding away. Now it is doing 2 blocks at once, as you guys can see by the 2 spikes. At least it was doing 2. Yeah, it is doing 2 at once. I thought so. Well, actually it's doing 4 now. I didn't really move around too much, but it does have the area of effect still, as it has done previously with the larger ships. Now, as you guys can see, it isn't going too slowly. It's actually going at a reasonable pace. But before I actually completely destroy those blocks, you will note that there is no indicator on how far grinded down something is, and you had the same with the welder as well. I would like some sort of pop-up to be there. Wow, I stopped it at just 4%, which is lovely, because I didn't want it to be destroyed. So we'll go over here, and now if we look at the components, I think there isn't anything in here because I am in creative. I think that was stated last time I tried doing an overlook of the grinders, but nonetheless we can still repair or weld using the welder without components. So let's do that here. As you guys can see, I'm pretty sure it'll have an area effect, the exact same as the grinder, and you guys can see that the block's actually done reasonably quickly. Actually, I have heard a lot of people say that it is kind of slow in places, but that hasn't really been the case for me at all. And I'm pretty sure the speeds are still the same for me. Let me just go here. As you guys see, I'm not using any actual speed bonds or anything. That is just the default speed, if I remember correctly. And let me just, oh wait, I am in creative, so that would have been pointless anyways. But nonetheless, that is the grinder and the welder, which they do seem to work quite nice. I did suggest having them on small ships right from the beginning, because small ships are more mobile, at least a lot more mobile than larger ships are, so you can really have a small ship just get it in and out and kind of repair your ship if need be. I am trying to work on something which I won't reveal just yet, using these welders and grinders, just to kind of, well, actually I'm not going to say any more about it. I'm going to leave that where it is, and I will talk to you guys about why I haven't done any Space and Survival videos lately. So with the latest update in mind, why do I hear explosions? With the latest update having come out, there has been a few bugs as well as a few hotfixes. Now, the few hotfixes have fixed crashing, such as like the memory leak issue, which I had when I was playing the multiplayer with Winterwolf, which is why I couldn't really play the Survival series for too long with him, because my memory would just, it would use up 16 gigs of RAM, which a game should never do unless you're running some state-of-the-art game, which I don't think there is a game out there that uses 16 gig of RAM. But nonetheless, it was using that much towards the end of the playthrough, so we had to stop playing until that was actually fixed. And now it has been fixed, so we can actually resume that. As for my single player survival, there has been the issue of people losing a lot of components, simply just moving them around, or when you go and weld something, all the components in your inventory will actually empty out instead of just what's required. Now, when I did start playing my survival series to actually record for you guys, I did notice this happening quite a bit, especially with the steel plates when I was trying to make the big drill. And that causes a lot of problem because I don't want to lose all of my steel plates, so I have actually held off the series until that will be patched, and I feel that will be patched very, very shortly, so you guys should look forward to seeing my survival series up in action yet again very, very soon. So with the memory leak out of the way, I just have to wait for the next hotfix to get the inventory loss out of the way, and then I can resume playing for you guys, because I just don't want to risk losing all the resources I've collected over the time. Now, with that said and done, I'm pretty sure that covers the majority of this last update. I haven't really gone over the ejector much, but it simply functions much like the the connector does, though it's just a 1x1, as where the connector is a 3x3, and I'll show you guys that really quickly here. So as you guys can see here, this is the ejector here, the very, very small variant here, and if I go back to the larger ship over here, or the grinder and welder one, you guys can see this is the connector, which is the larger 3x3 variant. Now, you might wonder what these X's are, and these X's are clear when you can actually, when it can actually deposit items, but when there's actually so many items in front of it, or it can't eject anymore, this will actually glow red, letting you know that it can't actually spit out any more objects. And I wish I had a few objects here to actually show you guys, which I think I actually do. If I go over here and collect as much as I can from these containers here. So let me just go through and I'll grab out as much as I can, and I will just stick them inside the other ship and see if I can actually eject them all out, and we'll let it go red for you guys. So let me just go here and I'll dump everything inside this, including my little welder. So we'll just drop everything in here really quickly. So my thoughts on the update. I actually quite like a lot of the changes. As to the conveyor sizes, both having large and small, I think it's quite nice because I can see something happening with that in the future with the connectors. As they are called connectors, they currently don't connect other than spitting out resources. So I feel that having a 3x3 on a ship and having a 3x3 on a station means that there will be that compatibility chance of these actually lining up and connecting in a sort of docking way that happens in games like, what was the game I'm thinking of? Kerbal Space Program. That's it. I had a mind blank for a second then. But when you try to dock in Kerbal Space Programs, the ships kind of line themselves up when they're close enough. So let me go to the connector here. We'll go collect all and throw out. And it should, as you guys can see, glow red when there's something in the way of it, which understandably makes a lot of sense. But when I pick up the said item, it can now deposit something else. It'll just constantly do it until it forces itself to stop. If I rotate it around, I'll go down here and I'll kind of rotate around, and you guys can see that as long as there's something blocking its way, it won't spit out any more than what it has. So let me just get out right here, and I think if I get close enough to the ground, yeah, you guys can see that it's not actually going to spit out anything until it's at least a 1x1 small ship block away. And I think if these do ever stack, you'll notice it because it will stop. Oh, there we go, almost. It's actually piling up. Why am I upside down? I can just watch this the normal way. But yes, that's basically it for this update. I do quite like it. I want to see where they're going to go with these different conveyor sizes, other than, like I said, the connectors actually being able to work at a later point. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, there is the really small hub on these, or at least there was the really small. Because as you guys can see in the connector picture here, there is actually the smaller variant, which if I go to place it down, I don't think it has any more. No, they've actually removed it completely, and there is not the actual number 8 thing is not available. The ejector, or the smaller component, is not. So I think if you want your ships to dock into the larger stations, you will need the large connector. So I'll just leave that here. Anyways, like I said, I hope to get back to my survival series soon once it's fixed. I do apologize for the lack of content lately in regards to that. I think it stopped now. I think that'll do. So yes, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of the latest update, the textures on the wheels, the thrusters as well, and what do you guys think about the small and large conveyors for smaller ships. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Stay awesome.